Well, and welcome to the July 4th episode of the Put Me On podcast. We got ourselves a doozy of a lineup here. We are going to be going over the upcoming women's soccer season. We'll be talking about some notable players who went to NC State and then performed for the United States in Olympics or international competitions. And then we'll briefly be going over a pretty big run by NC State coach and legend Kay Yao in the 1988 Women's Basketball Olympics. So, let's get straight to it. Let's begin with women's soccer. They did not do good last year, finishing second to last in the conference with 4 wins, 10 losses, and 4 ties. With the only notable in-conference tie being against Notre Dame 1-1. They have a 76.8% safe stat, 1.18 goals against average, which is high end in the conference, but they give up 1.07 goals per game and have 15 total team assists throughout the season, which is one of the lowest in the nation. They did foul less against opponents, which is good, but this defense is going to be a new look defense with starters Taylor Chisholm transferring to Auburn, Janet Okeke transferring to Florida State, and Paige Totolino, who led defenders in assists and tied for second with the most assists overall in the team with 2, is graduating. On the offensive side, starters Hannah Jabril is transferring to Mississippi State. Backup Savannah Hutchins is going to Texas A&M. Annika Warner, who tied for most goals with sophomore Jade Bordelot, is graduated. Abby Hugh, middlefielder, is graduating. And, that's everyone that's leaving. That is a lot. Some of the notable newcomers from the transfer portal is Daytona State junior Sophia Farga, a defensor, and defensor Lily Stoltz from Lenore-Rhine. Some notable incoming freshmen include Emily Wong, a middle fielder from British Columbia, Chloe Stanley, I think that's a center back from Nikena, North Carolina, Maya Lazaro, winger from Tottenham Hotspur Youth, Daisy Duda, a winger from New Jersey, Martina Cherubini, a middle fielder from Italy, and Fane Ledstecker, a midfielder from the Netherlands. There are lots of shoes that need to be filled if NC State wants to return to the NCAA tournament, the last appearance being in 2022. They fired head coach Tim Santoro and replaced him with conference champion ECU's head coach Gary Higgins. With 5 defenders and 5 notable offensive players gone, the starting 11 will look brand new, headlined by sophomore star Mana Nakata, junior forward Jay Bordelot, and senior goalie Olivia Pratipas. The rest of the lineup will be anyone's game. Some of the players I expect to see take that next big step include Brooklyn Holt, a senior defender, Antonella Mazzioto, a forward sophomore, freshmen Martina Cherubini and Maya Lazaro. That's primarily because they both hail from high-end international junior squads. AS Roma and Tottenham Hotspur are both highly reputable in Europe, especially in women's soccer, but I digress. The expectations for this team are as low as they can get, but the ceiling is really as high as it can get. And I wouldn't give up on the squad just yet, even though things look pretty bad and their schedule is not the nicest to them. They do have a lot of players that are coming in. They got a brand new coach who is a proven winner with ECU, and they have sorry, I lost my words there. They just have some proven players, so Jay Bordelot and Mana Nakata, Olivia Pretipas, even though she's a senior, this will be her last go-around. She has proven with that high save percentage and being one on top of the conference with goal against average that she can help them win. It's just that most of our games are going to be like 1-0, 0-0, 1-1, you know. So hopefully if we can get a little bit more going on the offensive side and get new defenders who can come in and produce well, then this team should be good. And the schedule, I mentioned that schedule was rough, but actually half of the in-conference opponents did not appear in the NCAA tournament. However, all of our state rivals did. So Wake Forest, Duke, UNC, they all went in, and I think they all did pretty good. Let me double check. Yeah, North Carolina, Wake Forest, especially, those two were the final two in the championship. UNC won, and Duke was the semifinalist. The last one was Stanford, if you want to know. And 6 of the 9 out-of-conference opponents did not make the NCAA tournament as well. All of our tough opponents, like, the ones that did make it in, half of them are away. So nearly about a quarter of our games are going to be really tough away games with teams that have made it to the conference championships and tournaments before. So this season could go either way. It would just depend on what version of NC State we see. We could be going back to that late 2010s form, or we could end up this pretty bad trend that NC State has been going in women's soccer in the past few years. Some notable matchups to come and attend or watch. They open the season, or they don't open the season with James Madison. I think they open with a Division II opponent. But one of the notable opponents heading into this season will be against James Madison, who won their conference, at ECU, who also won a conference. Gary Higgins, our new head coach's old team, which will be interesting to see how they look. They will be following that up with at Michigan State, which will also be rough. But I think they made it to, they made it. They did get knocked out by Duke, but they were able to beat Texas in the conference. I don't know why I keep saying conference. National tournament. You have VTech and Florida State back to back. Florida State will especially be tough since they took Janet Okeke away from us. And Virginia Tech did have a good run in the... Hold on. I think I'm thinking Virginia. Yeah, okay. Virginia Tech also got knocked out by Duke. Look at that. So we got a couple people who've been beat by Duke. And speaking of that, we have here, October 26th, followed by UNC on Halloween. So make sure to come out and support the women's soccer team. They'll probably need it, but things are looking pretty good for them. All right. Coming up next, we'll be talking about the Olympics, some notable players who have played for NC State, and then we'll briefly go over KO's 88 run with Team USA women's basketball. All right, let's get to it. Men's soccer for the United States haven't always been great. As of recording, they have played against Costa Rica in the CONCACAF quarterfinals and did beat them. Where they'll be playing Guatemala that night. So, fingers crossed that they can actually win something. But they have had a couple of players that hailed from NC State. Pablo Mastrioni represented Team USA in the 2006 FIFA World Cup. However, he was suspended for 3 games after a red card incident against Italy, I believe. He tried to make it for the 2010 FIFA World Cup, but he did not make it. And now he is a head coach for Real Madrid. Let's see. He's still with Real Madrid. He had 65 appearances but no goals. However, he is a defensive midfielder, so I wish they had more goals with soccer, like more not score, like they had more statistics. There's not much on him about his time at NC State. He was part of that successful early 90s, late 90s NC State run. He also played in the MLS with Miami Fusion, and the Colorado Rapids, where he was also a head coach for a few years, but now he is with Real Salt Lake, and he's been with them, even though he did get his number retired with the Colorado Rapids. All right. The other notable guy is Tab Ramos. Yeah. He played with NC State in that 97-98. And, okay, sorry. He was in the 80s. Mastrioni was in the 90s. Tab Ramos, he was born in Uruguay, but he managed to, what's the word? I think it was like qualify for the Team USA. He even left NC State early to play for Team USA in the 88 Summer Olympics, where they missed out on the knockout. They were stuck in a group stage. But because he helped NC State with their run to the national championship and was even tied for goals leader in a conference in 1987, he was, he had a lot of success in qualifying matches for Team USA in 1990, 1998, and 2002. So he was someone that was frequently coming back. In his 12 years, he made 81 appearances with 8 goals. And in the professional league, he did jump around a little bit. He was with New Jersey Eagles and Miami Sharks of some smaller American major soccer leagues. And his most notable time was spent with the New York Red Bulls when they were called the Metro Stars in the late 90s, early 2000s. And now he has last been seen on the soccer stage as an assistant coach for the New England Revolution. He's also been an assistant and head coach with the United States U20 squad in the 2010s. So, I mean, hey, that's some pretty good contribution overall. And although he hasn't done much since 2023, I'm sure his name will come back around for Team USA. All right, so some men's soccer players. Nate McMillan was an assistant coach for the Redeem team in the 2008-2012 Summer Olympics. I don't think he was part of that. He wasn't part of any major run, I believe. Okay, no, he did win a national championship with them in 84. Okay, so he has had some major contributions because he was part of that 86 championship squad, and his number has been honored by the NC State Wolfpacks and the Seattle Supersonics. He was an assistant coach for the Olympics with, as I mentioned, the Redeem team in 2008 and the 2012 Summer Olympics, where he helped them win gold twice, even though I don't think an assistant coach does much. Okay, that might sound hateful. Okay, yeah. So he does have a important role with them, so I shouldn't discredit him too much, especially since he's an NC State guy. But he's had a lot of time with. He's had a couple years at NC State, and then he had 12 years at Supersonics. Jumped around as a coach, and is currently the assistant coach for the Los Angeles Lakers as of 2024. His last head coaching stint was in 2021 to 2023 with the Atlanta Hawks. You remember that year when they beat Duke and they helped Ben Simmons become basically irrelevant? He was the coach during that time. So, hey, look at that. It's pretty good. Females, or is this the only female I have? I mean, everyone knows about the Lake legends, like Decky. I think that one is Sanford. Trying to think. Dang, this is a bad look for me. Catherine Burkhoff. Catherine Burkhoff. You know, she has won a lot of gold medals, and she's really good at swimming. But you know, another sport that has women that NC State's good at is cross country and basically running as a whole. And one of the notable athletes in that division is Joan Minoy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I think it's Minoy. She won gold in 1984 women's marathon for the Olympics. And she has also made some appearances helping to represent the United States in United States marathons such as Boston Marathon, where she had the fastest time by an American woman in that race for 28 years when she ran in, I think it was like 1980. It was in the late 80s, I believe. That's when she did. Okay, no, 2019 was her last time there. Okay, no. This sounds really bad. I promise I've done research. I'm just trying to expand on what I have been making. 1983, Boston Marathon. I think that's 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 43 seconds, which was the record for about 28 years. So she's a really good athlete for North Carolina State, even though she's from Maine. It's interesting. Well, she helped them NC State win a first national title in women's cross country, and she also helped win gold in the 1984 women's marathon running, or not women's marathon. No, it is women's marathon. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was women's marathon or the 3,000 meter, because she also did some track and field doing the 3,000 meters, since kind of the same philosophies can be applied to like anything above like, what is it, like 1,200 meter and marathon running. I don't know. All right. Some other athletes. Michael Machiavello, who is a wrestler who represented Team USA in the 2023 Pan American Games. Because remember, NC State's good at wrestling. I think there are 5 national championships, the most recent one this year, actually. So watch out. He dominated gold in the 92 kilogram division, which I think is just like 200 pounds. He outscored his opponents 31-0 in 3 matches, in which, if you don't understand the scoring system, a traditional takedown, like getting them on the ground of 1, 2, 3, is 2 points. An escape from that is 1 point, and an outright win is 6 points total. He would score, it was like 10-0, 11-0, and then 10-0 in the gold, and also won national championship in the NCAA in 2018 for his weight class. So while the Pan American Games aren't that huge, still notable. He still is one of the best in the, what's it called? The continent, subcontinent. And, you know, I think he'll eventually get his name called up to the Olympic team, but only time will tell on that. Some other ones I have listed. These are just some of them. Of course, you can't go without talking about Brian Fraser, who was a student athlete at NC State before an accident left him amputated with one leg. He had to use what is those things called with the running blade, and he would go on to dominate the Paralympic Games with with about 2 gold medals in 2004 and 2008 with the 4x100 and the 4x400. What's it called? Baton racing. Let's see. His teammates was, can't find his teammates, but none of them were NC State, so not super relevant. You did have a mini controversy with using nandrolone, which was voided after there was no evidence. And he is also a prosthetist who will help to create and utilize the Flex Foot Cheetah carbon fiber running blades, giving them to an Oscar Pistorius, who has gone on to win a lot of golds himself, going all the way from 2004 to 2012 in 100, 200, and 400 meter races. And I think right now he is also a motivational speaker. So, I'd recommend checking out his motivational speeches because, he lost a leg and became a pretty good runner. And that's really good. It's good for him. All right. So this one's sort of an honorable mention. I didn't really know what to do with this, but I thought this was interesting. Do any of y'all remember a name, Cravant Charleston? He didn't have any major success with NC State in the collegiate level. He did not score in the ACC championship and did not qualify for NCAA in 2019. But he did finish second place in the ACC for 2018, but did not make it to finals for 2018 NCAA. Okay, 100-meter dash. I should kind of begin with that. He finished second place in the ACC in the 100-meter, didn't make it in the NCAA finals, and did not qualify for anything in the ACC or NCAA in 2019. However, he was picked up by a tracksmith company to kind of be one of the representatives for the 2023 World Athletics Championships. Okay, no. This was to qualify for that. He managed to defeat notable runners Noah Lyles and Christian Coleman in a 100-meter dash to qualify, but did end up losing in the initial heats. So this was like a crazy upset at the time when it happened. He only broke the 10-second barrier in 2022, and this race was in 2021? No, 2022. He managed to make it to the semifinals in the 2022 World World Athletics Champions. And he did not make it into the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, nor the 2024, where was it? Paris Olympics. So it seems like his time running is about over, but it was like something kind of notable when I was doing the research because I wanted to avoid the obvious with like the swimmers. And I found that he had some notable appearances, and I just kind of had to check it out. It was a pretty cool upset story where he managed to beat Noah Lyles despite not running. Yeah, he ran 9.95 seconds. Barely beaten the duo. All right. And that kind of concludes my mini segment on some notable athletes who have played for Team USA as part of that July 4th episode. Now we're going to talk about NC State coach and legend Kay Yao and the second ever women's basketball Olympics, where she helped to bring up the gold and show that NC State can bring in some good stuff for the women's basketball program, and that USA women's basketball is not something to be trifled with. So it wasn't really an uphill battle for Kay Yao. In 1984, the women's basketball team did manage to win gold pretty handedly, and the expectations were set pretty high by women's basketball coach and legend Pat Summitt, where Kay Yao was an assistant coach. But now Kay Yao is taken over full time, and she does have some of the returning starters, such as Teresa Edwards, who came from. She's probably the team's best shooter and came out of Georgia. I don't think I need to tell you where everyone came from. And let's see. Couple. I guess that was the notable star that came out, and then some death players like Ann Donovan, Cindy Noble. But hey, they were coming into Seoul with some pretty high expectations, but we're ready to kind of make good with their promise of winning. Their starting five for most of the tournament included Katrina McLean, the leading scorer and rebounder, Teresa Edwards, as mentioned, Sydney Brown, who was a complimentary rebounder and blocks leader, Susie McConnell-Serio, who was probably the only consistent three-point shooter, which in the 1980s did not mean much, but if you can shoot 50% and go 1 for 2 from the three, that'd be considered really, really good. I guess I wonder if it really made it harder or easier to score like a 40, 50, 90 back then. I don't know. I'm going on a tangent here. Because I don't think it would mean that you can make it. Because in women's NCAA, yeah, only one person has made it in women's NCAA in 2004. Kristen Iwanaga. And in WNBA, only Alina Del Don in 2019 when they won the national championship with the Mystics. She won with them. Oh, and Cynthia Cooper is here too. She won as a starter with 84. Her and Edwards. They shared a group with some notable big dogs. That Eastern European Asian group with Yugoslavia, China, and Czechoslovakia. Yeah, it's Czechoslovakia at the time. I think I'm thinking a different country. But we start with Czechoslovakia. One of the notable players from Czechoslovakia's side, Ivana Novakova, gives them the lead at halftime over the United States. But, Team USA, they are just too powerful. It's really hard to beat them. Yeah, well, Ivana Novakova, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, finishes with 21 points and 5 steals with 8 rebounds. It's just no match. Teresa Edwards scores 24 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. No, 2 assists, 2 steals. And Katrina McLean complements him pretty well with 19 points and 8 rebounds, 3 steals. Although there isn't really much assisting going on, it doesn't really matter, especially since they got more assists than Czechoslovakia and won a game 87-81 despite being down at halftime. All right, so up next in the group stage, Yugoslavia. uh, Yugoslavia didn't really have much of a chance. You know, with both Teresa Edwards and Bridget Gordon scoring 20 or more points. And although they didn't really have a dominant defensive game, there were still three steals. I don't know why I keep saying assists by Jennifer Gillum. Two by Teresa with Weatherspoon. These are some other notable players on the roster. I should have probably given a little bit of everyone. Katrina McLean with 8 points and 9 rebounds, which is so close to a awkward double-double. But it doesn't matter. They beat Yugoslavia 101-74. The only woman on Yugoslavia with a notable performance is Saldana Golic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but we're just going to go with it. 16 points, 3 rebounds, assist, 2 steals. Yeah. So they've already kind of qualified for the bracket round. KO's team's been really good. I guess this isn't as much about KO as it is the entire women's, but just know that throughout all of this, KO is just coaching his team and helping them just be winners, which is what USA and women's basketball is all about, especially when they go against China. Another Chinese player, another opponent almost gets a double-double. This time it's Shane Haixia. Haixia. If I misspell it or mispronounce it, it's my bad. But she scores 32 points, 8 total rebounds, 6 some defensive. And Con Shudy with 5 assists. That's the most I've seen from any team so far in this tournament. I guess we're not really big assist people. Stand corrected. Teresa Edwards has 5 assists. And Katrina McLean has 27 points and 13 rebounds. Look at that, double-double. 10 of them defensive against the Chinese team. Susie McConnell scores 18 with 4 assists and 4 steals. And Sydney Brown also gets 3 steals on them. So we're able to take care of business against them to go on to the bracket stage, where we'll have the semifinals against the Group B team, Soviet Union, or their Group B runner-up. Hold on. I'm missing a game. Oh, that's the men's tournament. Okay. I was like, okay, there was something here against Puerto Rico, but that was the men's bracket. Yeah, the women's, it's just, Soviet Union was the runner-up in their group to Australia, mate. And so, hey, we play against the Soviet Union, the commies. And while they have a well-dispersed scoring on Soviet Union side with basically all their 5 of their players scoring double-digit points, and Vitalia Toumaite scoring 14 points with 6 rebounds, and Natalia Saushulskaya with 16 points. I really need to take the time to actually learn how to pronounce these names. I would like to apologize. Here's one I can pronounce. Olga Yakovleva. Ooh, 2 assists. But no match against the United States, who also defeats them. Cynthia Cooper again shows up. Her and Katrina McLean. 27, 26 points respectively. Katrina McLean gets the double-double with 15 assists and 15 rebounds. Gosh, I'm tripping over my words a lot. Okay, 15 rebounds, 26 points. And then on the other end, Cynthia Cooper with 27 points and 4 assists. Teresa Edwards gets 6 assists and 12 points total. And Sydney Brown gets 7 total rebounds as well. All right, and that was 102-88. The last game was 104 70 something. Okay, no, there was no. Okay, yeah, 101-74, 102-88. That's our second 100-point game. We almost got there with China, 94-79. Now we head to the finals, a rematch against Yugoslavia, who barely beat that Australian team, which probably would not have had a run against us, but oh well. For this Yugoslavia team, trying to beat USA, they can't. Sorry to kind of spoil it. That Saldanja Golic gets a double-double, 10 rebounds, 13 points. And Danira Nekic with 23 points and 6 total rebounds. They are just no match for Team USA. Teresa Edwards scores 18. Cynthia Cooper scores 11. 8 rebounds by Sydney Brown. And Donovan, Cynthia Cooper, Teresa Edwards all have multiple steals. And Donovan even has multiple blocks against them. So, and Donovan had a good defensive performance to help guide this team led by Teresa Edwards, Katrina McLean, Cynthia Cooper. They get gold again. And kind of just a little mini where are they now for our kind of biggest stars, Teresa Edwards. Yeah, let's see if I can find her name. Yeah, Teresa Edwards. She hasn't done much since this. She played with the Atlanta Glory, Philadelphia Rage, and Minnesota Lynx when the WNBA was formed, even though she didn't. Okay, WNBA with Minnesota Lynx. She only played 1 year and then jumped around as an assistant coach. Katrina McLean did not have much outside of this. Even though she has played with them since she was in the 92 Olympics in Spain and 96 in Atlanta. And then the last one, Cynthia Cooper, who is a more notable name. She was part of that dominant 97, 98, 99, 2000 Houston Comets run. Even getting finals MVP in all 4 of those. I'm just realizing this. 2-time MVP. And her numbers retired by the Houston Comets, even though they don't really exist anymore. Her number was also retired by USC, where she played in college and coached for 4 years. And I guess that's kind of it on all the good stuff. Kay Yao, she go back to NC State and continue to dominate as a head coach there. Leva Samiao. Also some other notable international competitions she's been in. FIBA for women, Goodwill Games in 86, and Pan Americans in 83. Hey, yep, that's the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. My next episode will be a few weeks for it, but we will have We'll be talking about the women's volleyball. We'll be looking at some of the notable athletes who could be drafted into one of the top professional sports leagues. And then we'll be talking about the underrated 2005 NC State men's basketball national championship run. So, hope you enjoyed listening to it. I think I already said that. Have a great 4th of July and go Pack.